just want to say that that for the past few decades, I call the past few decades the period of the great bamboozle. You know, the right wanted one party rule, okay? And they knew the best way, the easiest way to go about it would be to control the media. And yeah, there's lots and lots and lots of money behind it. Think tanks, they attack the judiciary, colleges, whatever they could. But the Democrats ignored this problem that was brewing all the time. Like I saw this through my father, what was happening. I was like, wow, there's these Republicans are trying to get people to hate Democrats and liberals. Why? This is dangerous. And I was like walking around with my hair on fire. And that's why I eventually had to make the movie. But we have to make our public officials aware that media is an issue they have to address. The fairness doctrine was vetoed by Reagan. Clinton, unfortunately, did the Telecommunications Act, which obliterated what FDR had put together as the original 1934 Communications Act, which he put together so that media would not consolidate because he saw what was happening in Nazi Germany and how media influenced people. Our representatives and our journalists are afraid to touch this with a 10-foot pole because they're going to get called liberal media, they're going to get called biased, they're going to get called fake news, they're going to be attacked. We have to push them to address this issue, either in another fairness doctrine or a new Telecommunications Act, which prohibits 1 or 2 billionaires from owning all this media.
Perfect, Jen. So this is a perfect way to close. But before I give you, sorry, go ahead, Sherna.
Yeah,
just before you go, Sherna, Buddy, did you have your hand up earlier? I think I'd seen your hand, but I don't know what happened. Did you want to say something? You're on mute.
Jermaine, what happened is his name was on my picture.
It was yours. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
So he didn't raise his hand.
Oh, it was you. Okay. Perfect. Sorry, Sherna, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to speak to 2 comments here in the chat. And Lynn was actually saying many of these officials are right wing. What officials are you talking about? What about the issue of Trump undermining the media from the beginning? And Susan is like, actually, sometimes I get annoyed at MSNBC and CNN as too dogmatic on the liberal side. There seems to be hate for the conservatives. I want truth, media, and fact checking on all media. And that brings us to the aspect of speaking to the profit makers from the media, which is corporate America.
Yes, corporate media.
Yeah, to speak to that objective journalism and driving the point of speaking to journalists to go back to their mantra of being objective, right, of doing their fact checking, and of presenting to their best ability truth.
Right.
So because this could go into like a media war, conservatives versus liberals, Republicans versus Democrats, and if we have fully media houses that pro Democrats, then the Republicans are on a side and they're saying we are being attacked. So it's about now pushing a mandate and a campaign to have objective journalism and holding journalists accountable for presenting objectively and presenting truth to their best ability based on investigative reporting and based on getting the facts before it is presented. So that is my,
Thank you, that's great. So Jen, both yourself and Sherna made suggestions as to how to solve this situation from an administrative level, from a political level. Do you have anything as a final thought now, personally, in our personal lives, tomorrow and the day after? What do we do? I unfriended my colleague at work, let's say. You stop talking to your aunt and your uncle, you no longer visit their house, etc. And there are various examples for people since 2016 as to what has happened. What do we do the day after tomorrow? Let's say January 23, 2021. What do we do so we move on without what people have referred to as the hate and the anger? Final thoughts on that.
It's going to be very, very hard to move on unless we change the media. I mean, we may get Biden and Kamala Harris in, and there will be a lot of change, but there will still be those that are getting fed lies and hatred, and it's at the point where they are brainwashed or cultists. So it's going to be hard to get through them. So we have to work on changing the media, and there's a couple things you can do. You can go to unfoxmycable.com and ask your cable company to defund, say that you don't want Fox, because Fox, 65% of its funding isn't from advertisers. They charge the most of any other channel, like $1 or $2 a subscription, something like that. You can ask businesses to turn off Fox. You can block Fox on your parents' TV. You can contact your local radio stations and demand an end to hate speech. You can get a group of friends together to buy a local radio station. There's a couple things like that. I was going to say something else. But yeah, So there is a way to talk to people. I'm not very good at it. Sometimes I am, but there's these people that are in my movie called Hear Yourself Think. And they actually give sessions on how to talk to somebody who's on the other side. And basically, I mean, it's just, basically it's like, get on neutral ground, get on something you agree on, deactivate their reptile brain, because their amygdala's on fire. So deactivate that, and then get on neutral ground and ask them Socratic questions, like do Socratic questions like, why is this, why is that? So they don't think you're attacking them. Anyway, they're really good at it, and they give workshops on how to do this. You should go to their site, Hear Yourself Think. You should see they walk into the like the lion's den, like people coming out of a Trump rally or something, and they'll go up to them and start talking to them, and you can see them de-escalate things. It's just fascinating.
Okay. That's pretty good. And you can type, if you have their website, you can type it in. But friends, I think this has been amazing, and the conversation is still not finished. Next week, we do go on to another aspect, which is to look at disparities in healthcare. The topic next week is Go Home and Die, disparities in healthcare between Black and white, rich and poor, private and public sector. And we continue the discussion and the conversation on race and privilege, and why some people are affected more severely than others are affected. And also why we can't seem to get consensus in the United States of America about certain basic things about healthcare that the rest of the world seem to have had consensus over for years. So that discussion will be taking place, and we hope to see you all here. And I know this conversation isn't finished, but unfortunately, I think we have gone on for a little bit. Thank you all for joining.
It started.
Thank you so much.
Indeed.
Thank
Indeed.
you, everybody.
Thank you, Jermaine.
Thanks,
Thank
Jermaine. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and hope
was
to see
great.
you back here. And Mary, good to see you, by the way. Please join us again next week.
You know it.
I will.
All righty,
Thank you
everybody.
all so
Stay
much.
safe, stay healthy, be well, and wear your
Hey,
ethnic mask.
namaste.
Namaste. Neta nama.
Namaste, Alibaba. I don't know.
Thank you, Jen.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Good
Thank you,
night.
Jermaine.
Bye.